The bridge of the HSS Eternal Dawn was silent. Admiral Tae-Young Park stood at the center, his hands gripping the rail in front of him. Around him, his officers waited at their stations. Everyone knew what was coming. After 300 years, they were finally going home. 300 years. That was how long they had been gone from normal space. For the crew of the Dawn, it had only been 50 years. Time moved differently in the dimension where they had been trapped. 50 years of waiting, training, and preparing for this moment. Tae-Young was not part of the original crew. Neither were any of the people on this bridge. They were all descendants, children and grandchildren of the brave souls who had sacrificed everything in that final battle. The battle that had saved the Dawn but trapped it in another dimension. All stations report, Tae-Young said. His voice was calm, but his heart was racing. Engineering ready, said Dr. Minho Choi from his station. The chief engineer looked tired. He had been working for days to prepare their systems for the jump back to normal space. Weapons ready, Captain Hana Kang said. She sat at the tactical station, her fingers moving across the controls. Hana had trained her whole life for combat, but she had never seen real war. None of them had. Communications ready, Lieutenant Daehyun Ko reported. He was young, only 28, but he spoke 7 languages and understood alien cultures better than anyone else on the ship. Fighter wings ready, Commander Ji-Won Lee said from the flight deck. Her voice came through the speakers with barely contained excitement. She had been waiting for this day since she was a child. Tae-Young nodded. Begin the sequence. The ship began to hum. Deep in the engineering section, the dimensional drives came to life. These were not the engines the Dawn had left with. During their time in exile, they had discovered things. Strange technologies left behind by civilizations that existed between dimensions. Technologies that made the Dawn far more powerful than any human ship had ever been. The humming grew louder. Space around the ship began to twist and bend. Tae-Young watched the main screen as reality itself seemed to tear apart. Then, with a flash of light, they were through. The bridge crew stared at the screen in silence. They were in normal space again, but nothing looked familiar. Scanning, Daehyun said, his fingers flying across his console. I am detecting numerous ships in the area. None of them are human. Tae-Young felt his stomach tighten. No human signatures at all? No, sir, wait. Daehyun paused, reading his screen carefully. Sir, I am detecting some old human beacons. Very faint, but the signals are over 200 years old. The silence on the bridge was heavy. Hana spoke first. What about human territories? What do the star charts show? Daehyun worked for several minutes. When he looked up, his face was pale. Most human territories are marked as extinct. The dominant power in this region is something called the Valorian Empire. They control almost everything. Extinct, Minho whispered. They think we are all dead. Tae-Young straightened his shoulders. We are not dead, and neither is humanity. Daehyun, keep scanning. Look for any sign of human activity. Anything at all. Before Daehyun could respond, an alarm sounded. Contact, Hana announced. 3 ships approaching. Valorian patrol vessels. They are hailing us, Daehyun said. Put them on screen, Tae-Young ordered. A face appeared on the main display. It was not human. The creature had gray skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It spoke in a language Tae-Young did not recognize, but the translation came through immediately. Unidentified vessel. You are in Valorian space. Identify yourself immediately or be destroyed. Tae-Young looked at his crew. They all looked back at him, waiting. He turned to the screen. This is Admiral Tae-Young Park of the Human Confederation ship Eternal Dawn. We are returning home. The Valorian officer stared at him for a moment. Then it started laughing. Human? There are no humans anymore. Your kind died out centuries ago. Whatever trick you are trying to pull will not work. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Hana looked at Tae-Young. Sir? Tae-Young thought for a moment. They could not let these ships report their position. Not yet. Not until they knew more. Captain Kang, disable their ships. Do not destroy them. Just shut them down. Hana smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. With pleasure, she touched her controls once, just once. On the screen, the 3 Valorian ships suddenly went dark. Their engines died. Their weapons powered down. They simply stopped moving. The Valorian officer appeared again on screen, his face full of shock and fear. What did you do? What kind of weapon is that? The kind that humans have now, Tae-Young said quietly. Tell your commanders that humanity is not extinct. We are back, and we are not happy. He gestured to Dae-hyun, who cut the transmission. The bridge was silent again. Sir, Dae-hyun said suddenly, I'm picking up something. It is faint, but it is definitely human. A distress signal. Where? Tae-young asked. 3 systems away. The signal is automated, repeating every few minutes. It says, Dae-hyun paused, reading carefully. It says they are under attack, requesting immediate assistance. The colony is called New Haven. Minho spoke up. Admiral, we just announced our presence. The Valorians will be looking for us. If we go to help this colony, we will definitely be walking into a fight. I know, Tae-young said. He looked around at his crew. These were good people. Brave people. They had spent their entire lives preparing for this. But we did not spend 300 years lost in another dimension, just to hide when our people need us. We came back to save humanity. That starts now. Hana stood up from her station. All weapon systems are ready, Admiral. Ji-won's voice came through the speakers. Fighter wings are ready to launch on your command. Minho sighed, but he was smiling. Engineering will give you everything we have. Dae-hyun nodded. I will prepare a message to broadcast on all frequencies. Let every human out there know that help is coming. Tae-young felt pride swell in his chest. Set course for New Haven. Maximum speed. It is time to remind the galaxy what humans can do. The eternal dawn turned in space. Its engines flared to life, burning brighter than any normal ship could manage. In seconds, it jumped to faster than light speed, leaving the disabled Valorian patrol ships drifting in the darkness. Somewhere in the distance, a human colony was fighting for survival. They did not know it yet, but help was on the way. The ghost ship was coming home, and it was bringing 300 years of human rage and determination with it. The silence was over. Humanity's return had begun. The planet New Haven filled the main screen. From orbit, it looked peaceful. Green forests, blue oceans, white clouds. But Tae-young could see the truth. Fires burned in several cities. Smoke rose from what had once been defensive installations, and surrounding the planet were 12 Valorian warships. They are bombarding the surface, Hana said, her voice tight with anger. Targeting civilian areas. Dae-hyun was listening to transmissions from the surface. The colony has maybe 10,000 people. Most are in underground shelters, but those will not hold much longer. The Valorians are preparing to send ground troops. How long until they detect us? Tae-young asked. We are already detected, Minho said. Their sensors just went active. They know we are here. On the screen, the Valorian ships began to turn. Tae-young could see their weapons coming online. Hana, what are we facing? 12 warships. 4 heavy cruisers, 6 destroyers, 2 support vessels. They outgun us by standard measurements. Hana paused. But we do not use standard measurements anymore. Tae-young nodded. Open a channel. Let me speak to them first. The screen changed. A Valorian officer appeared. He was older than the patrol commander, with scars across his gray face. I am Commander Drex of the Valorian fleet. You are interfering with an authorized operation. Leave immediately or be destroyed. I am Admiral Tae-young Park of the Human Confederation. That planet contains human civilians. You will cease your attack and withdraw. Drex laughed. Humans, you are 300 years too late, Admiral. These are illegal settlers in Valorian space. They will be removed. And so will you. All ships target that vessel. Fire when ready. The transmission ended. Tae-young looked at Hana. You may fire when ready, Captain. Hana did not hesitate. Her fingers moved across her console and the dawn came alive with power. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the ship. But these were not normal weapons. They phased in and out of normal space, passing through shields as if they were not there. 4 Valorian ships exploded in the first salvo. Just gone. Turned to clouds of debris in an instant. On the Dawn's bridge, Ji-won's voice crackled through the speakers. Fighter wings launching now. From the Dawn's hangar bays, dozens of small fighters streaked out. They moved impossibly fast, their engines leaving trails of dimensional energy. The remaining Valorian ships tried to target them, but the fighters kept disappearing and reappearing in different locations. Commander Drex appeared on screen again, his face no longer confident. His ship was shaking from impacts. What are you? He shouted. This technology should not exist. We had 300 years to improve, Tae-young said quietly. Now withdraw your forces or we will destroy them all. 2 more Valorian ships exploded. The others were trying to retreat, but Hana was not letting them escape easily. She targeted their engines, disabling them one by one. "Admiral," Minho called out, "we are showing some instability in the dimensional drives. We can keep this up, but not forever." "Understood. Hana, disable the rest. Let one ship keep its engines. Let them run home and tell everyone what happened here." 5 minutes later, it was over. 11 Valorian ships drifted in space, powerless. The 12th jumped away at maximum speed, racing to carry news of the battle. Jiwon and her fighters returned to the Dawn. When she arrived on the bridge, her face was flushed with excitement. "Admiral, that was amazing. Did you see how fast we moved? The Valorians could not touch us." Tae-young looked at her seriously. "How many civilian casualties on the surface?" Jiwon's smile faded. I do not know, sir. Find out. War is not just about winning battles. It is about who we save." He turned to Daehyun. "Open a channel to New Haven. Let them know they are safe." Daehyun worked his console. After a moment, a voice came through. It was a woman, and she was crying. "This is New Haven Colony. Who are you?" "The Valorian ships are gone." "Did you do that?" "This is Admiral Tae-young Park of the Human Confederation ship Eternal Dawn. We are here to help. You are safe now." There was a long silence. Then the woman spoke again, her voice shaking. "Human Confederation? But that was destroyed centuries ago. Everyone knows that." "Not everyone," Tae-young said gently. "We were lost for a long time. But we are back now. And we will not let humanity disappear. Can you tell me how many colonies like yours exist?" We know of maybe 40 others. We have been hiding for so long, moving from system to system. Always running. Always afraid. Is it really over? Are we truly safe?" "You are safe," Tae-young promised. "We will make sure of it. I am sending down supply ships and medical teams. We will help you rebuild." Over the next few hours, the Dawn sent shuttles to the surface. Medical teams helped the wounded. Engineers began repairing damaged buildings. And Lieutenant Daehyun Ko went down to speak with the colony leaders. When Daehyun returned to the ship, he looked troubled. Tae-young met him in the shuttle bay. "What did you learn?" the Admiral asked. "These people have been running for generations. They hide their signals, move every few years, live in constant fear, and there are dozens of colonies like this scattered across the galaxy, all trying to survive." Daehyun paused. "They also told me something else. The Valorians are building something, a super weapon, something that can scan for hidden settlements across entire sectors. Once it is operational, all these colonies will be found and destroyed." The Carrack system appeared on the screens like a fortress. Dozens of Valorian warships patrolled in organized formations. At the center of the system, a massive station hung in space. The Eye of Valor. It was enormous, covered in sensor arrays and weapons platforms. "Count 38 warships," Hana reported. "More than we expected. The station itself has defensive weapons. This will be difficult." "We knew it would be," Tae-young said. "Daehyun, send the signal. All ships attack." The human fleet charged forward. It looked small against the Valorian forces, but it moved with purpose. The Eternal Dawn led the way, its shields blazing with dimensional energy. On the Valorian flagship, High Commander Vextar watched the humans approach. He had been hunting this ghost ship for weeks. Now it had come to him. "All ships engage," he ordered. "Focus fire on the large vessel. Ignore the smaller ships." The Valorian fleet opened fire. Beams of energy and missiles streaked across space, but the Dawn flickered, phasing in and out of reality. Most of the shots passed through empty space where the ship had been moments before. The human resistance ships spread out, attacking from multiple angles. They were not powerful individually, but they were brave, and they were many. "Jiwon, launch all fighters," Tae-young commanded. From the Dawn and several resistance carriers, hundreds of fighters poured out. Jiwon led her squadron straight toward the station, dodging through enemy fire. "Stay tight," she shouted to her pilots. "Use your phase drives only when necessary. Save power for the attack run." Beside her, Soman Park flew in an old but modified fighter. She had refused to stay behind. "My brother is down there on that station," she had told Jiwon. "I am getting him out." On the Dawn's bridge, Hana coordinated the attack. She targeted Valorian ships with surgical precision, disabling them one by one, but there were so many. "Admiral, the dimensional drives are overheating," Minho called out. Warning lights flashed across his console. "We cannot maintain this level of phasing much longer." "How long do we have?" "Maybe 20 minutes. 30 if we are lucky. 20 minutes to destroy a station the size of a small moon." Tae-young made his decision quickly. Daehyun, order all resistance ships to fall back. Get them out of here. Sir? Daehyun looked confused. Do it. The Dawn will finish this alone. Admiral, they will not leave, Daehyun said after sending the message. They say they came here to fight. They will not run now. Tae-young felt pride and sadness at the same time. These people were so brave, so foolish, so human. An explosion rocked the bridge. A Valorian heavy cruiser had scored a direct hit. Shields holding, Hana reported. But we took damage to the port side. Section 7 is venting atmosphere. Another explosion, this time inside the ship. Tae-young was thrown to the floor. When he looked up, he saw a part of the ceiling had collapsed. Sparks flew from damaged conduits. Admiral? Daehyun helped him up. Tae-young felt pain in his side. Probably broken ribs. I am fine. Hana, you have command. Finish the mission. Hana moved to the command chair. For a moment, her face showed uncertainty. Then it hardened with determination. All power to forward weapons, she ordered. Minho, I need everything you can give me. One massive shot. If I do that, the drives will burn out completely, Minho warned. We will be stranded here. Then we better make it count. Outside, G1's fighters had reached the station. They fired at the defensive platforms, creating an opening. I am going in. Soman's voice crackled over the comm. I see the prisoner section. Soman, wait, G1 shouted. But it was too late. Soman's fighter dove toward the station, disappearing inside a hangar bay. On the Valorian flagship, Vextar realized what the Dawn was doing. The human ship was positioning itself for a direct shot at the station's power core. All ships protect the eye, he commanded. That ship cannot be allowed to fire. The remaining Valorian warships moved to block the Dawn, but the resistance ships got in their way, sacrificing themselves to buy time. One by one, the old human vessels exploded, taking Valorian ships with them. On the Dawn, Minho watched his screens with horror. The drives are reaching critical levels, Admiral. Captain, we need to fire now. Hana looked at the tactical display. G1, get your fighters clear now. What about Soman? She is still in the station. There is no time. Get clear! G1 felt tears in her eyes. She had promised Soman they would save her brother, but if they did not fire, everything was lost. All fighters retreat, she ordered, her voice breaking. The fighters pulled back. On the station, Somin had found her brother. She was helping him to her fighter when she heard Ji-won's order. She smiled at her brother. I told you I would come for you. Then she activated her comm. Dawn, this is Somin. Fire when ready. Complete the mission. Hana closed her eyes for a moment. Then she opened them, cold and determined. Fire! The eternal Dawn released every bit of power it had. A beam of pure dimensional energy lanced out, brighter than a star. It struck the Eye of Valor's power core dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the station began to crack. Light poured from the fractures. And then it exploded. The shockwave spread outward, disabling nearby Valorian ships. On the Dawn, every system went dark. Emergency lighting flickered on. Tae-young, still injured, pulled himself to his feet. Through the viewport, he could see debris where the superweapon had been. Is it gone? He asked. Hana nodded slowly. It is gone. We did it. At what cost? Ji-won whispered. Around the destroyed station, only a few resistance ships remained intact. So many had been lost. Daehyun checked his console. Sir, we are receiving a transmission. It is from High Commander Vextar. Tae-young straightened despite the pain. Put him on. Vextar appeared on the screen. His ship was damaged, sparks flying behind him. But his eyes showed something new. Not anger, respect. You have won, Admiral Park. The weapon is destroyed. And you have taught me something today. What is that? Tae-young asked. That humans are more dangerous than I ever imagined. Not because of your weapons, but because you will sacrifice everything for what you believe in. That is a power we Valorians do not have, he paused. I am prepared to discuss terms. A ceasefire. Recognition of human territories. What do you say? Tae-young looked around his damaged bridge. At his injured crew. At the debris field outside that held so many brave souls. We will talk, he said. But know this. If you threaten humanity again, we will return. And next time we will not stop until your empire is dust. Vextar nodded slowly. Then the transmission ended. The battle was over. The war was not won, but it was no longer hopeless. Humanity had survived. The Eternal Dawn had completed its mission. The Eternal Dawn drifted in space. Most of its systems were offline. The dimensional drives were completely burned out. never to work again. But the crew was alive, injured, exhausted, but alive. Tae Young sat in the medical bay getting his ribs wrapped. Through the small window he could see the remaining resistance ships moving alongside the Dawn. They were protecting it, guarding it until help could arrive. "How many did we lose?" he asked Daehyun, who stood nearby. 28 ships. Over 3,000 people." Daehyun paused. "But sir, I have been monitoring transmissions. The colonies know what happened here. They know we destroyed the weapon. They are celebrating." Tae Young closed his eyes. 3,000 lives. The price of victory was always high. "There is something else," Daehyun continued. "The Valorians are pulling back from human territories. Vextar is keeping his word. He has ordered a ceasefire." For the first time in weeks, Tae Young smiled. They had done it. Against impossible odds, they had saved humanity. Over the next few days, more ships arrived. Human ships from colonies across the galaxy. Some came with supplies. Others came just to see the eternal dawn with their own eyes. The ghost ship that had saved them all. Engineers from a dozen colonies worked together to repair the dawn enough to move. They could not fix the dimensional drives, but they could restore basic systems. The ship would never be what it was, but it would survive. Hana walked through the damaged corridors, checking on crew members. She found Ji-won sitting alone in the fighter bay, staring at an empty landing pad. "That was Soman's fighter," Ji-won said quietly. "I promised her we would save her brother. I failed." Hana sat down beside her. She made her choice. She knew what firing that weapon would mean, and she did it anyway because she believed in the mission. "How do you live with that? With ordering people to their deaths?" "You remember them," Hana said. "You honor their sacrifice by making it mean something, by living the life they died to protect." They sat in silence for a while. Outside, workers moved around the damaged ship, slowly bringing it back to life. 2 weeks after the battle, the Dawn was ready to move. The crew voted on where to go. The decision was unanimous. New Haven, the first colony they had saved. When the Eternal Dawn arrived in orbit, the entire colony came out to watch. They had rebuilt much of what the Valorians had destroyed. And they had built something new. A memorial. A wall with names carved into stone. Every human who had died fighting for freedom. Tae Young and his officers went down to the surface. The colony leadership met them at the landing pad. There were tears and hugs and words of gratitude. "You saved us," the colony leader said. "All of us. Every human alive today owes you their life." Tae Young shook his head. "We just reminded everyone that humanity is worth fighting for. You saved yourselves by never giving up, by surviving against impossible odds." They walked to the memorial wall. Tae Young ran his hand along the names. So many. Each one representing a life, a story, a sacrifice. At the bottom of the list, he saw a new name being carved. Soman Park. Fighter pilot. Hero. In the weeks that followed, things began to change. The colonies stopped hiding. They started communicating openly, building connections. Trade routes opened. Defense pacts were formed. Slowly, carefully, humanity was becoming unified again. The Valorian Empire kept its word. A treaty was signed recognizing human territories. Some Valorian commanders resigned in protest. Others, like Vextar, accepted the new reality. The galaxy was changing. Tae Young stood down as commander of the Dawn. He was tired. He had spent his entire life preparing for this mission, and now it was complete. It was time to rest. Hana took command of the rebuilt human defense forces. She was perfect for the role. Strong, determined, and committed to protecting rather than conquering. Minho led the effort to integrate new technologies safely into human society. He worked with scientists from every colony, sharing knowledge and building a better future. Ji-won became the commander of the fighter corps, training a new generation of pilots. She told them stories of Soman and the other heroes who had given everything for humanity. Daehyun became humanity's chief diplomat. He negotiated with alien species, built alliances, and helped create a new era of cooperation in the galaxy. 5 years passed. 5 years of peace and rebuilding. Tae Young returned to New Haven for the memorial ceremony. The colony had grown. New buildings reached toward the sky. Children played in streets that had once been battlefields. He stood with his former crew, watching as young pilots flew overhead in formation. They flew in honor of those who had fallen. The crowd cheered. "We did it," Hana said, standing beside him. "We actually did it. Not us, Tae-young replied. All of us. Everyone who refused to give up. Everyone who kept hoping when hope seemed impossible. Above them, the eternal dawn hung in orbit. It was a museum now, preserved forever as a reminder of what humanity had overcome. People came from across the galaxy to see it, to remember. After the ceremony, Tae-young walked to the memorial wall alone. He placed his hand on the stone, feeling the names carved beneath his fingers. We kept our promise, he whispered. You did not die for nothing. Humanity has a future now. Your children and grandchildren will live free. That was worth everything. A young girl approached him. She could not have been more than 7 years old. Are you Admiral Park? She asked. I was, he said with a smile. Now I am just Tae-young. My teacher says you saved everyone. Is that true? Tae-young thought about how to answer. A lot of people saved everyone. I was just one of them. My mom says I can be anything I want when I grow up. Because of you. Your mom is right. You can be anything. What do you want to be? The girl smiled brightly. A pilot. Like Commander Lee. I want to protect people. Tae-young laughed. It was a genuine, happy laugh, the kind he had not felt in years. Then I have no doubt you will be an amazing pilot. The girl ran off to join her friends. Tae-young watched her go, and he felt something he had not felt since before the battle. Peace. That evening, he sat with his crew on a balcony overlooking the city. They shared stories and memories. They laughed about the good times and mourned the losses. They were family. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had not come back? Ji-won asked. Sometimes, Tae-young admitted. But we did come back, and that is what matters. To the future, Hana said, raising her glass. To the future, they all echoed. Far away, at the edge of explored space, another signal appeared, faint but unmistakable. Another human ship, lost centuries ago, calling for coordinates home. The work of reunification was not over. It might never be over, but humanity was ready now. Strong, united, free. The eternal dawn had returned from the darkness. It had saved a species from extinction. It had reminded the galaxy why humans were so dangerous, not because of their weapons or technology, but because they never gave up, because they fought for each other, because they believed in tomorrow. That was humanity's true strength, and it was a strength that would never fade. The ghost ship was at rest now, but its legend would live forever. A reminder to all who heard the story. Never count humanity out. Never assume they are beaten, because somewhere in the darkness they are preparing, learning, growing stronger, and when they return, the galaxy will never be the same. 3 weeks had passed since New Haven. 3 weeks of jumping from system to system, finding hidden human colonies and bringing them together. The Eternal Dawn had become a legend. Some called it the Ghost Ship. Others called it the Sword of Humanity. The Valorians called it a nightmare. Tae-young stood in front of a star map in the briefing room. Red dots marked Valorian territory. Blue dots showed human colonies they had found. There were 37 blue dots now, more than anyone had hoped for. The resistance network is growing, Dae-hyun said. Colonies are sharing information, helping each other. Some are even starting to build defensive weapons using designs we provided. Good, Tae-young said, but it is not enough. As long as that superweapon exists, they are all at risk. Minho looked worried. Admiral, we need to talk about the ship. The dimensional drives are becoming unstable. Every time we use them, they degrade a little more. We can probably manage a few more major battles, but after that, he trailed off. After that, we lose our greatest advantage, Hana finished. She did not look concerned. Then we make sure those battles count. The door opened. Ji-won walked in, followed by a young woman in a worn pilot suit. The woman looked nervous. Admiral, Ji-won said. This is So-min Park. She is a pilot from the colony at Epsilon 7. She has information about the superweapon. So-min stepped forward. Sir, my brother works in a Valorian mining facility. He managed to send me a message. The weapon is called the Eye of Valor. It is being built in the Karak system deep in Valorian core territory. How deep? Tae-young asked. Very deep. At least 50 systems from the nearest human territory. The system is heavily defended. My brother says there are at least 30 warships guarding it, maybe more. And the weapon itself is massive. A station the size of a small moon. Hana leaned forward. When will it be operational? 2 months. Maybe less. Once it activates, it can scan entire sectors in hours. No hidden colony will be safe. The room was quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. They had to attack soon. Very soon. Thank you, Soman, Tae-young said. You have helped us greatly. Ji-won, please make sure she gets back to her colony safely. After they left, Tae-young looked at his officers. They had been through so much together. They had saved thousands of lives. But this next step would be the most dangerous. We need to discuss our options, he said. There is only one option, Hana said immediately. We attack. We destroy the weapon before it can be used. Against 30 or more warships, Minho shook his head. Even with our technology, those odds are difficult. And if we fail, the Dawn is lost. Then who will protect the colonies? If we do not attack, the weapon will find every colony, Daehyun said quietly. The Valorians will destroy them all. At least if we fight, we have a chance. Tae-young walked to the viewport. Outside, stars shone in the darkness. Somewhere out there, humans were hiding, hoping, praying for salvation. We attack, he said finally, but not alone. We ask for volunteers from the resistance. Anyone who wants to fight can join us. We give them the choice. Over the next week, messages went out to every human colony. The response was overwhelming. Ships came from everywhere. Old cargo vessels fitted with weapons. Mining ships converted to fighters. Even luxury yachts armed with whatever guns their crews could find. It was not much of a fleet. Most of the ships were old and slow. But they came anyway. Humans who were tired of hiding. Tired of running. Ready to fight for their future. Ji-won trained some of the pilots. She was surprised by how good they were. They have been fighting for survival their whole lives, she told Tae-young. They know how to improvise, how to survive. One night Tae-young could not sleep. He walked through the corridors of the Dawn, thinking about everything that had happened. About the people who had lived and died on this ship during their exile. About the responsibility he carried. He found Hana in the training room, practicing combat moves against holographic enemies. She was covered in sweat but did not stop when he entered. Cannot sleep either? Tae-young asked. Hana finished her routine and turned off the holograms. I keep thinking about the battle. About what we need to do, she paused. Admiral, what if we do not make it back? Then we make sure our sacrifice means something. The colonies will survive. They are learning to fight, to defend themselves. Even without us, humanity will endure. I always thought we would be heroes, Hana said quietly, that we would save everyone and be celebrated. But now I realize it is not about glory. It is about giving others a chance to live. Tae-young smiled. It was the first time he had seen Hana doubt herself. It made her more human. That is what leadership is, he said, making hard choices so others do not have to. The day of departure arrived. 43 ships gathered around the eternal dawn. It was the largest human fleet in 300 years. Not impressive by galactic standards, but it was theirs. Tae-young stood on the bridge looking at the assembled ships on the main screen. Daehyun opened a channel so he could speak to all of them. This is Admiral Tae-young Park. You all know why we are here. The Valorians have built a weapon that will destroy every human colony in the galaxy. We are going to stop them. This will not be easy. Many of us may not return. But if we succeed, humanity will have a future. Our children will grow up free. That is worth fighting for. That is worth dying for. He paused. You all had a choice. You could have stayed hidden, stayed safe, but you chose to fight. That makes you the bravest people I have ever known. Whatever happens, remember this. Humanity never gave up. We never stopped fighting. And today we show the galaxy that we are still here. We are still strong, and we will never surrender. Across the fleet, people cheered. It was not a professional military force. It was farmers and miners and shopkeepers. But they were human. And they were done hiding. All ships, Tae-young said, set course for the Karak system. Maximum speed. Stay close to the dawn. We jump in 5 minutes. On the bridge, his crew worked quietly. Hana checked weapons. Minho monitored the engines. Daehyun coordinated with the other ships. Ji-won prepared her fighters. They were ready. As ready as they could be. Jump in 30 seconds, Minho announced. Tae-young took a deep breath. This was it. Everything they had prepared for. Everything they had fought for. Jump, he ordered. Space tore open. The fleet jumped forward, racing toward the heart of enemy territory. Toward the superweapon. Toward their destiny. The Valorians were waiting. They knew the humans were coming. But they did not know what the humans had become. They did not understand human determination, human rage, human hope they were about to learn.